Morning breaks in Southside Chicago, where the sound of buses outside mixes with the hum of an old ceiling fan. Tierra wakes before dawn, slipping into her work clothes in silence while her parents sleep soundly down the hall. She brews cheap coffee in a chipped mug, scrolling through her phone only to see Kayla's face on the screen, smiling in Santorini. Another dream trip post tagged #grateful. Tierra exhales, swallowing envy like it's her morning medicine. The house feels heavier now, dust settling on trophies Kayla left behind. As Tierra straightens Kayla's untouched bed and wipes her dresser, she sees the family's old photo on the nightstand. Kayla centered, everyone smiling. Tierra slightly cut off by the frame. She laughs bitterly, then wipes her own fingerprints away. Outside, a mail truck sputters by, dropping bills that always seem to find Tierra first. The day begins not with purpose, but routine, one she never asked for, yet one she keeps alive. Later that morning, Tierra moves through the house quietly while her parents chat loudly in the kitchen. Her mother laughs about Kayla's brand partnership, her father reading the same post from his phone. Tierra sits at the table across from them, pouring cereal, trying to exist without being noticed. Her mother mentions how proud she is that Kayla made it out, how she's always known Kayla had that spark. Tierra's spoon clinks against the bowl, an accidental protest. Marjorie glances up briefly, then returns to bragging. Tierra forces a smile when her father asks if she's still working at that store, as if her stability is shameful. The tension hums beneath the sound of sizzling bacon and scrolling screens. When Tierra stands to leave, her mother reminds her to clean Kayla's room again. It gets dusty. Tierra nods silently, her chest heavy with the weight of invisible labor that's never recognized. Tierra catches the bus to work, pressed between strangers, the smell of coffee and cologne filling the air. She stares out the window at passing murals, black faces painted in strength and color, reminders of a pride she's forgotten how to feel. The ride is long, her thoughts looping. Kayla's laugh, her mother's voice, the dust in that empty room. She texts Darius but erases the message before sending it. The driver hits a pothole, jolting her into the present. A little boy across the aisle drops his juice box. She picks it up and smiles faintly at him. He smiles back. For a moment, Tierra feels seen, not as someone's daughter or sister, but just herself. The city glides by, gritty and beautiful, in the morning haze. At the corner store where she works, Tierra stands behind the counter ringing up sodas and cigarettes for regulars. Mr. Floyd cracks a joke about that internet sister of hers he saw on TV, calling her the rich one. Tierra forces a polite chuckle. Between customers, she scrolls her phone, sees another post of Kayla boarding a yacht, laughing with friends who all look sponsored. Her reflection in the store window is ghostly, almost transparent. When Darius stops by for a snack, he studies her face and says softly, "You ain't gotta keep proving yourself to folks who don't see you." She smiles but changes the subject, asking if he wants gum. The register beeps like a metronome, counting time she'll never get back. Night settles over the neighborhood. Tierra returns home, the streetlights flickering like old memories. Inside, the house is quiet, except for her mother's voice on speakerphone, laughing with Kayla about Paris hotels. Tierra passes the doorway quietly, pausing just long enough to hear her mother say, "You deserve everything, baby." She closes her bedroom door behind her, the sound muffled but still heavy. Sitting on her bed, Tierra opens her worn journal, writing, "If I disappeared, would they notice before the dust settled?" She stares at the words, then shuts the book. Outside, the wind whistles through the cracked window, carrying distant sirens and unspoken prayers. Sunday afternoon finds the Johnsons' small living room dressed up for Kayla's return. Marjorie lays out the good china and lights a candle that Tierra bought last Christmas, but never saw used. Tierra watches her mother's excitement as if she's witnessing someone else's joy. When Kayla finally walks in, sun-kissed suitcase rolling behind her, laughter ready before she even greets them. The room fills with her energy. Everyone rises but Tiara. Their father hugs Kayla tight, telling her how proud he is. Marjorie can't stop touching Kayla's hair, complimenting her glow. Tiara forces a smile, helping with plates that no one thanks her for. Kayla talks about Parisian pastries and Dubai sunsets like she's narrating a dream. Tiara listens, folding napkins, silently measuring the distance between family and favoritism. Dinner becomes a performance. Kayla center stage, everyone else the audience. She scrolls through photos on her tablet, showing off pictures from Morocco, London, and Bali, while Tiara refills drinks quietly. The conversation loops around success, ambition, and living without fear. When Marjorie says, "You could learn something from your sister," Tiara swallows her reply. Greg stays mostly silent, but his eyes flick toward Tiara, guilt showing where words fail. The table gleams under chandelier light, laughter echoing off old walls. Tiara looks at her plate, seeing her reflection in the gravy, distorted, melting into everything around her. After dinner, Tiara steps outside to breathe. The porch is quiet, except for the low hum of crickets and a passing train. Inside, laughter continues. She sits on the steps, shoes off, eyes on the cracked sidewalk that's seen every argument she never spoke. Her phone buzzes. Darius texting, "You okay?" She types, "Just tired." Before she can hit send, the screen dims. The faint glow from inside spills through the curtains, flickering like distant firelight. Tiara closes her eyes, whispering to herself, "They only see me when they need something." The night holds her words and doesn't echo them back. Kayla joins Tiara outside unexpectedly, wrapping herself in a designer shawl. She talks about how exhausting travel can be, how fame isn't as easy as it looks. Tiara listens, wondering if Kayla realizes the irony. When Tiara mentions how she's been helping cover house bills, Kayla laughs lightly, assuming she's joking. "You always worry too much," she says, brushing Tiara's shoulder before going back inside. Tiara watches her go, the sound of Kayla's laughter floating behind her like perfume, sweet, fleeting, and suffocating all at once. She whispers, "I'm done being quiet," though no one's there to hear it. That night, Tiara lies awake, replaying the dinner in her mind. The laughter, the compliments, the invisible silence where her name should have been. The ceiling above her feels heavy, with unspoken things. Down the hall, Kayla's laughter echoes again, followed by her parents' voices praising her. Tiara turns onto her side, whispering a prayer she doesn't believe will be answered. "Lord, help me stop needing them." Outside, the rain begins softly, tapping against her window like applause she'll never hear. Weeks pass, and the house grows quiet again. Kayla's visits become less frequent, replaced by phone calls filled with nervous laughter. One morning, Marjorie and Greg sit in the living room, whispering. Tiara overhears fragments, maxed out cards, brand deal fell through. Kayla's worried. She pretends not to listen, sweeping the hallway as their worry thickens the air. Later that day, Kayla arrives unexpectedly, her suitcase smaller, her confidence dimmer. She hugs their mother a little too long. Tiara watches from the corner, knowing this time the trip home means more than nostalgia. The air between them hums with tension and unspoken debt. Mort, At the kitchen table, Kayla confesses the truth. Her influencer deals dried up, her rent overdue, her credit cards maxed. Marjorie listens in stunned silence while Greg rubs the bridge of his nose, trying to think. Tiara leans against the counter, her expression unreadable. "You'll bounce back," Marjorie insists, still clinging to faith in Kayla's charm. Kayla shakes her head, tears threatening her lashes. "Mom, I need help." The room freezes. Tiara looks down at her own hands, calloused from years of work, and realizes they're all turning toward her. The dependable one, the invisible one. Her heartbeat drums with equal parts, anger and pity. That evening, Tiara and Darius sit in his car outside her job. She tells him about Kayla's money troubles, about her parents hinting for help without asking directly. Darius leans back, shaking his head. They see your grind now that it fits their needs, he says. Tiara laughs bitterly. I'm tired of being useful instead of loved. The city lights shimmer on the windshield, red and blue reflections flickering over their faces. Darius tells her, you don't owe them your peace just because they lost theirs. She exhales deeply, watching the traffic light turn from red to green, but not moving. Trapped between forgiveness and fury. The next day, Tiara returns home to find her parents waiting at the dining table, papers spread out, faces somber. Marjorie clears her throat and begins talking about family, helping family. Tiara sits down slowly, already knowing where it's going. Greg mentions how Kayla needs a little temporary loan to get back on her feet. Tiara's silence stretches, her mother filling it with guilt-laced words about sisterhood and God's grace. Finally, Tiara says softly, you never asked how I was doing, only what I can do for you. The sentence lands like thunder. Marjorie stares at her, speechless for once. Kayla looks away. Later that night, Tiara stands at her bedroom window, staring out at the streetlights. She feels both free and furious, finally saying what she needed to, but knowing it changes everything. In the reflection of the glass, she sees her parents' silhouettes arguing in the living room, Kayla's voice breaking somewhere in between. She whispers, I'm not your backup plan. The city hums softly outside, streetlights flickering like fading promises. Tiara exhales, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. For the first time, her reflection looks like someone who's done waiting. 2 weeks after the confrontation, Tiara keeps her distance. The house feels smaller now, quieter, the tension hanging like unspoken prayer. At her job, she moves through aisles in silence, stacking cans, lost in thought. Her phone buzzes with missed calls. Her mother, Kayla, even Greg. But she doesn't answer. That night, Marjorie shows up at the store, pretending it's coincidence. She smiles too sweetly, talks too gently. Your sister's been having a hard time, baby. She misses you, she says, voice trembling between love and manipulation. Tiara nods politely, scanning a customer's groceries, refusing to look up. Marjorie lingers before leaving, whispering, we all need you, Tiara. For the first time, Tiara doesn't flinch, just breathes. The next evening, Greg stops by Tiara's apartment after his Uber shift. He brings takeout, saying he just wanted to check in. They eat in silence, the TV flickering low. After a while, he says, your mama means well, even when she don't know how to show it. Tiara sighs, eyes fixed on the TV, but mind elsewhere. She loves the idea of us being a family, not the work it takes. Greg nods, folding his napkin. You've always been the one who kept things steady. Maybe it's time you let them wobble. His words hang heavy between them. For the first time, Tiara sees the man behind the silence, a father trying to mend what's already cracked. A few days later, Tiara agrees to meet Kayla at a cafe downtown. The air between them feels fragile, like glass waiting to crack. Kayla's smile wavers, her designer bag smaller, her phone cracked. I didn't come to ask for more, she says softly. I came to say, I'm sorry. Tiara studies her sister's face, the one everyone said was perfect, and sees exhaustion underneath the gloss. You lived like people were watching, Tiara says, and I lived like they never would. Kayla nods, tears glistening in her lashes. Maybe we both lost ourselves in trying to prove something. The cafe hums with quiet jazz, and for once, silence feels like healing, not avoidance. Later that night, Tiara returns home to find Marjorie cooking. The smell of collard greens and cornbread fills the air. Nostalgia weaponized. We should eat together, Marjorie says, trying to sound casual. They sit down quietly. Between bites, Marjorie apologizes, not for the favoritism, but for how things turned out. Tiara doesn't correct her. Instead, she says, I love y'all, but I need space. Marjorie's fork pauses mid-air. Space. Tiara nods. To breathe. To be more than what you need. Marjorie stares at her for a long moment, then smiles sadly. You sound like your daddy. Tiara smirks faintly. Maybe that's a good thing. That night, Tiara walks home from the bus stop, city lights flickering across puddles from an earlier rain. She breathes in the cold air and exhales something heavy she's carried for years. The sound of passing cars fades into distant hums. She stops on a corner and looks back toward her old street, smiling faintly. No anger, no sadness, just release. Her phone buzzes again. This time, a text from Kayla. Thank you for listening. Tiara doesn't reply, but slips the phone into her pocket, looking up at the sky. For once, she feels like she belongs to herself. Tiara wakes early to an unexpected knock. When she opens her door, Kayla stands there, eyes swollen, makeup smudged, the shine gone. They're about to lose the house, Kayla says quietly. Tiara steps aside, letting her in. Kayla explains how their parents co-signed one of her failed ventures, how the bills caught up faster than expected. Tiara listens without speaking, the walls closing in around them. Mama said you got some money saved, Kayla whispers, voice trembling. Tiara feels the sting, the expectation wrapped in desperation. She turns away, whispering, every time I try to breathe, somebody calls it selfish. The words hang heavy as both sisters realize this time. Love might not mean rescue. Later that day, Tiara sits across from her parents in their living room. The tension feels heavier than the furniture itself. Marjorie's voice cracks as she explains how they're 3 months behind on the mortgage. Bread can't meet her eyes. Tiara stares at the table, every emotion. Anger, guilt, fatigue, fighting for space in her chest. You think I don't love y'all? She says softly. I've been holding this family together with pieces of myself for years. Marjorie reaches out, but Tiara pulls back. I can't keep saving people who don't see me until they're drowning. The silence that follows is suffocating. But for the first time, Tiara doesn't feel it. Tiara meets Darius at a small diner that night, the neon flicker casting red light across his face. She tells him everything. How they're about to lose the house, how she feels torn between obligation and freedom. Darius listens quietly, sipping coffee. You got a good heart, he says. But good hearts still break if you don't protect them. Tiara stares at the window, watching rain slide down the glass. If I don't help, they'll hate me, she whispers. Darius shakes his head. They already love you in their way. You just keep mistaking guilt for love. The truth cuts deeper than she expected, but it frees something inside her, too. The next evening, Tiara visits her childhood home one last time before deciding. The walls feel smaller now, the laughter of the past echoing faintly through silence. She walks into Kayla's old room, the one she kept clean for years, and stares at the empty bed. Dust gathers again where memories used to sit. Marjorie appears behind her, voice trembling. I didn't know how to love you right, Tiara. Tiara turns, eyes soft but unyielding. You loved what I could do, not who I was. Tears spill down Marjorie's cheeks as Tiara gently steps forward and hugs her. For the first time, Tiara's embrace feels like choice, not duty. That night, Tiara transfers part of her savings to her parents' account. Not everything. Just enough to keep them afloat. She writes a note. This isn't charity, it's closure. Leaving it on the kitchen table, she walks out without looking back. As she steps into the night, Darius waits in his car across the street. She gets in, exhaling relief for the first time. You sure about this? He asks. Tiara nods, eyes fixed ahead. Yeah, I'm finally sure about something. The car pulls away, streetlights streaking across the windshield, like the ghosts of everything she's leaving behind. Weeks pass and life takes on a slower rhythm. Tiara moves into a small apartment on the west side, where the mornings are quiet, except for the hum of buses and the hiss of radiators. She wakes early, waters her plants, and sits by the window with coffee, watching kids walk to school. The air feels different here, lighter, freer. Her phone buzzes with family group texts. She doesn't answer right away. She's learning to let silence breathe. In the mirror by her dresser, Tiara studies her reflection, not through comparison, but through peace. The woman staring back isn't tired anymore. She's steady. She's hers. Meanwhile, Kayla's world continues to crumble. The brand sponsors disappear, her followers dwindle, and she finds herself back in the same neighborhood she once bragged about leaving. She takes a job at a local boutique, folding clothes instead of modeling them. Each customer who recognizes her whispers a reminder of what she lost. But for the first time, she doesn't hide. She learns to smile genuinely again, without a camera watching. One afternoon, she catches her reflection in the store window and doesn't flinch. It's the first time she's seen the real her in years. Greg stops by Tiara's new place on a Saturday afternoon, carrying a bag of groceries and a small plant. He says he just wanted to see how you were doing. They sit on her small couch, laughing quietly over memories of the old house. He apologizes, not with words of guilt, but gratitude. You kept us standing when we couldn't see you holding us up, he says. Tiara takes his hand, eyes soft. You did what you knew, Daddy. We all did. The light between them is gentle, the kind that feels earned. One evening, Kayla visits Tiara's apartment for the first time. She carries a homemade peach cobbler, her nervous laugh betraying her humility. It's not perfect, she says. Tiara smiles, motioning her in. They eat in silence at first, then talk about old times, arguments, laughter, and the weight of expectations. Kayla admits, I didn't know how much you gave up for all of us. Tiara replies, I didn't either until I stopped. The two sisters share a quiet laugh that turns into tears. For the first time, their silence feels like healing, not distance. Weeks later, Tiara walks through a quiet park as the sun sets. The wind carries the sound of children laughing in the distance, and the air feels alive. She sits on a bench, closing her eyes, feeling the warmth on her face. Kayla calls just to say hi, and Tiara answers. No tension, no bitterness, just peace. As she hangs up, she looks at her reflection in her phone screen and smiles. It's not about proving her worth anymore. It's about living. Months pass. The Johnson family home stands quieter now, stripped of noise and pretense. Tiara hasn't visited in weeks, but she finally agrees to Sunday dinner. The air carries the smell of baked chicken and sweet corn bread. Nostalgia dressed in forgiveness. When she walks in, Marjorie hugs her tighter than she ever has. Greg smiles from the table and Kayla busies herself setting extra plates, her energy softer, humbled. They eat together without comparisons, without silence that hurts. For the first time, Tiara laughs. Real laughter that fills the space where resentment used to live. The sound feels like music no one remembered they knew the tune to. After dinner, Tiara walks into Kayla's old room. The trophies still gleam, but the dust is gone. The bedspread, once spotless under Tiara's care, now carries Kayla's new scent, a mix of simplicity and change. Kayla joins her in the doorway, watching quietly. I'm thinking of turning it into a study. Marjorie calls from the hall. Tiara laughs softly. It's about time. Kayla sits beside her on the bed, and for once, neither feels smaller than the other. They share a comfortable silence, the kind that comes only after truth. Later that week, Tiara and Kayla visit a small cafe where they used to dream as teenagers. Kayla scrolls through her phone, showing Tiara pictures. Not of travel or luxury, but of her new art project, helping young girls find confidence without filters. Tiara smiles, proud but quiet. "You're finally doing something real," she says. Kayla grins. "Guess I learned from the real one." Their laughter blends with the soft hum of music in the cafe. For the first time, both sisters sit side by side, not mirrors of what the world expected, but reflections of who they've become. A few days later, Tiara walks through the old neighborhood on her way to work. The sidewalks look the same, but the way she walks isn't. Children wave to her, neighbors greet her by name. Even the cracked pavement feels less like confinement and more like roots. She pauses in front of her parents' house. New paint, flowers planted by the porch. Marjorie waves from the window, and Tiara waves back. No tension, no distance, just peace built from understanding. The wind carries laughter and the faint rhythm of a song someone's playing down the block. Life, for once, hums in harmony. Evening falls as Tiara returns home to her apartment. She opens the window, letting the cool breeze move through sheer curtains. On her dresser sits the old photo of the family, this time reframed properly, all faces visible. She smiles faintly, then dusts the windowsill one last time. Outside, the city glows. Alive, imperfect, and hers. Tiara leans against the frame, closing her eyes as laughter from the street below rises like a hymn. She whispers, "I'm home." Not to anyone else, but to herself.